Hey guys, I'm Legio and I'm back with another how-to video with the intersection marking tool and the addition of the Crosswalks mod that was recently released on Steam. So before we get into it, I released a previous how-to video with the intersection marking tool that went into the basics of how to use the mod. So if you haven't seen that video, I suggest going and watching that video and it'll give you the very basics. Also, before we get into this, I'm going to put the links to the description to that video and to the mods in the description down below, so make sure you go and check the mods out. One disclaimer, the Hide Crosswalks mod is still in a beta version, so it might conflict with some mods you have. It hasn't conflicted with me, so hopefully it works for you. So let's just get right into this video. We're going to use the roads that are on the screen and hopefully it will convey the information I want. Also, remember to like and subscribe because it helps get this kind of stuff out there for other city builders, and people who don't know how to do this are looking for stuff like this. So if you like and subscribe, you're helping them find the video. So without further ado, let's get into this. So let's look at this intersection. We have a basic four-way intersection, and you'll notice it's a little different. I have a stop line here and some different looking crosswalks. Well, I'm going to show you how to make that happen. It's real simple. First thing we'll do is our stop line. It's a new addition to the intersection marking tool. All you gotta do is go to your marking tool, which again is in your road tabs. It's in your intersection marking tool tab. You could also hit Control L, and then you'll go and select your node like you would for traffic presidential mod. Then you will select the nodes. You're going to select the node from the curb and go to the opposing curb. The line will turn green, and there's your stop line. How awesome is that? I think it's pretty awesome. So how do I get rid of the game's default crosswalk without putting asphalt all over it? Well, that's actually made simpler by the Crosswalk mod. So in your basic manager mod, you can disable these crosswalks, but the textures will remain there. The pedestrians won't use them, but you still see it, and it can be an eyesore. So you cover it with asphalt or you use hide it. Well, how about we go in and just decide if the crosswalk stays or not without all that hassle. So you'll go into your traffic manager mod, you'll go to junction restrictions, you'll click it, select your node. Now as you can see, I have these crosswalks disabled. If I disable this one, that crosswalk is now gone. So pedestrians won't use it and the decals are no longer there, and that is just fantastic. You can then add your own crosswalks at your leisure if you'd like to. So it's that simple. Where I really like this is into the roundabouts. So we just go back into our junction, click into the roundabout, and we disable our crosswalks. Because what roundabouts have crosswalks on them? I've never seen any, and I don't think many exist if they do exist. But then we have that little gap there, and all we gotta do to fill in that gap is go to our intersection marking tool, click, and use whatever line so fits your needs and or desires. Now where I'll go a little bit more in depth is with the coloring, because you can see the line color here is a little off of the line color there. All I got to do is go into my color palette, and you'll see it come up. There's a transparency bar here. So the lines will always default to white unless you want to make them yellow or red or whatever. And you adjust your transparency here. The further down you take it, the more transparent it is. Just eyeball it as best you can. And once you're happy with it, I suggest clicking copy. Because what that's going to do is it's just like your building painter mod. It'll keep that color for the next intersection you work on. And the reason I do it is my roads kind of default to a lighter tone. So moving on, we'll go to the next one. Now, this is coming from basically a 5-lane road down to an asymmetrical 3-lane road. So in real life, you'll have lane markings to help you whenever you're making turns and stuff like that. So why wouldn't we have it in our game to make it a little bit more realistic? So I'm going to show you. I'm not going to fully detail out this this intersection as it's labeled in the game, but I will show you something pretty cool that I discovered. So for realism, I'm going to go ahead and take this across, and that acts as one line. And then right here, That'll carry this lane. Well, now we have this weird little space over here. And something I found that is awesome, we're going to use the filler mod, well, the filler part of the intersection mod. Now to do that, don't just hop into it. To access it though, you'll hit the control or the alt key, and you'll see these red dots. And if you connect the red dots just like you would as you were as a kid, you connect the dots, you know, it'll create a filler, and you'll see that in a second. But before you hop into that, make sure you give it some good points of reference. What I mean is, I'm going to create a frame for it to fill in. So for me to do that, I'm going to click this green dot. I'm going to hold shift and make a solid line, and I'll complete that. I'm going to hold shift. I'm going to hold shift, make another solid line. Come on. You can't see it, but there is a line there. And now what I can do is I can hop into Alt, click, 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 click. And you'll see it's now filled that in where traffic can't go. Okay? You can do, that makes sense to me there because you don't want cars parking along that side. Okay? And then you can hop back into your node and you can do probably a solid line here. Click, solid line, you know, however you want. And then a solid line here, because you're probably going to keep a solid line going down here. And you can use props and stuff like that, line that up. And again, click, click, and it gives you reference for your alt. And you can just fill that in. Again, I'm not being super realistic. That may or may not be filled in, but you get the point. Okay? So moving on a little bit. Now when it comes to bike lanes, I've noticed that it can be a little hectic trying to make them correct. But what I did find with this intersection marking tool, I can actually make this a little easier on myself. So I just go in, and we're going to pretend that bikes are going to use this lane just for the sake of this video. So all I have to do is I click my node, and I make a straight line. And that's all it is. And then I just go find my little bike decal. Excuse me one second while I do a quick search. Find my small bike decal. And I can put my bike decal down right there. And that's how I kind of do it. What this is also kind of cool for is you can go up here to say this intersection. Go back into your marking tool. Click the intersection and you can connect all your bike lanes. Just like that. Now realistically, what I've seen a lot in real life, at least in the city I'm in, is you'll have a dashed line here and a dashed line here, because I'll still mark out your bike lane. It still exists, and then you go back into your decal and you'll flip it around, and a bike lane is still marked. But you want to do a dash because traffic is going to be going through that lane. As a general rule, if it's a solid line, vehicles are not going to pass over it. So you don't want a car coming into this bike lane. You don't want a bike going into the car lane. So you'd use solid lines for that. So how simple is that, guys? Next, what I got really excited for, and I love this, is we're going to start working with some highway. This is where the filler really shines, in my opinion, because highways have always looked a little unrealistic to me with their lines. So you saw in the last video I showed you how to do these lines. We just make a solid line there, we make a solid line there, I make a solid line here. Well now, you can make a solid line to there, you make a solid line to there. So we have this, okay? And it looks semi-realistic already. But when it look even more realistic, if I hit my Alt key, click that, to there, to there, to there. And you'll see the green lines are following the lines you made, because how the filler key works is you have to have the lines in place so it knows what to fill in, and there it is. How awesome is that, guys? Isn't that fantastic? What's also really cool is if I go into my Move It mod, which if you don't have, get that mod, and I move this, that mark is going to stay there. So if I take this and bend that curve out or shape it, the filler is going to remain. The lines are going to remain. It is absolutely awesome. I think it's fantastic, and seriously, thank you to the creator of this mod. You have made this game so much better. So that is basically all for this. Not the most realistic. I really just wanted to get the concept down. But I really hope you guys learned something out of this tutorial. I kept it quick and brief because that's how I operate, I guess. So if you like this video, please, again, remember to like and subscribe. It helps people find the content if they don't know how to do this stuff, so that they can learn how to do this stuff. It also helps the channel grow a little bit, and the more the channel grows, the more apt I am to make how-to helpful videos. With all that said, you guys have a good day, and keep building.